Hey, how's it going? My name is Ashley Rose, but as you know, you can call me Ash. Welcome to my channel. Of course, everything on here is sponsored by Curse Cosmetics. You can use my code to get 10% off A Rose Distortion, and that is, of course, my social media handle. And of course, Secret Society Goths, telling secrets for over 7 years.
What's going on, y'all? This is Jacob with Secret Society of Goths, and I've spent the past half decade making content for bands from all over the world to help them grow their audiences organically. I never use AI and I never use bots, so if you're an artist trying to grow your audience, hit me up. Send me one message on Instagram and we will get a plan going for you.
And I'm here today with David Phantom from Evelyns Casket. How are you doing today, David?
I'm very good, Ash. How are you?
I'm well. Do you prefer David? Do you like Dave or do you like Davey?
So, I won't like bite anyone's head off about it, but I really just like David, yeah, so David is fine.
Okay. I just wanted to know how
Yeah.
to properly address
Hey, I appreciate that, yeah, because some people just go right to Dave, and I'm just like, oh man, all
like my name, not Dave.
right. Yeah.
It's okay. It's totally cool. Like I said, you can call me Ash. You can call me Ashley. I've been called Ashton before, but I prefer Ash, just like the
Okay.
Evil Dead. So there you go.
Yeah, yeah. Hell yeah.
So, you just got off of your recent loop of tour, touring right now. I do know that, so thank you for making time for me. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everyone that makes time for me.
Yeah, no problem. It was a fun little run. I kind of just woke up, but you know, I'm here, happy to be here. So yeah, it's no problem at all. I appreciate you, plugging my stuff. So
Yeah, speaking of plugging your stuff, if you want to see anything Evelyn's Casket, look at my hand right here, right here. There's going to be a QR code that pops up. Take your phone out, scan it. Thank you. And it'll pop up. It'll take you directly where you can support Evelyn's Casket. So let's get to the story behind your name, Evelyn's Casket, specific meaning, any type of inspiration behind it. Go for it. Tell me, talk to me, David.
so there's the story of there's this beautiful, not beautiful, there's this famous photo called the Beautiful Suicide. And it was a photo taken of this woman who jumped off the Empire State Building, and she landed on a car, and she suffered no exterior damage to her body. Her name was Evelyn McHale, and it looked like she just like fell asleep on top of this car that's just like crumbled perfectly around the shape of her body. And our band name is like a reference to the car that she landed on. So
Now, in this genre, the channel, my channel particularly covers everything alternative, whether it be goth, whether it be horror punk. Particularly, I select horror punk because I love horror punk. I've always loved the genre. Now, it does, when it comes to horror punk, it does blend the aspects of goth, punk, post-punk. There's a lot of different inspirations. Do you or Evelyn's Casket, do y'all lean towards something in particular other than horror punk? And I'm referring, of course, through like inspirations of styles of music.
yeah, so we have like a pretty all over the place sound. I would say there's a lot of like in the guitar, there's like a lot of metal influence, and then as far as like the rhythm and like the vocal styles and all that, it's very much there's some parts where we have like kind of like a metalcore vibe, but across the board, it's pretty like pop punk, I would say for the most part, like pop punk or skate punk and whatnot. And like we do have a few songs that are pretty gothy, but a lot of that just really mostly translates into, the lyrics and the imagery. But as far as like bands that were like really influential to us, I guess I can only really speak for myself and a little bit of our drummer Biff. Um, I don't know particularly what like Tanner's biggest influences are. I know he's like a really big like hardcore and thrash metal kid. So like he's really into like Metallica and Turnstile and freaking Toxic Holocaust and like Necrogoblicon. I don't know. That guy has like he's just like a thrash hardcore encyclopedia. He loves everything in those genres. But me specifically, like my biggest influences, at least like for this band sound, what I bring is I'm like heavily inspired by like Blitzkid, Alkaline Trio, and Black Sabbath. So those are like my like probably like my most biggest influences towards the music. And then Biff is like also a huge Alkaline Trio fan, so he has a lot of that in there that he brings to the table. But he's like real big into like Epitaph Records bands and stuff like that because he's a little bit older than me, so he was more involved in like the early 2000s punk scene and whatnot. So that's like what he grew up with is like late 90s and early 2000s punk.
Well, getting into as far as, your favorite bands. I know I say, a lot. Don't worry, you're gonna get used to it. It's just
Okay,
talk.
I say I do that a lot, so it's
You
okay.
say like a lot as well.
Oh yeah, yeah, constantly.
I think it's growing up knowing the fact that you were told it's awkward to leave things silent between people or in between sentences. So you feel that you need to fill that quiet sound or that quiet silence with like or yeah or like yeah.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm also just totally scatterbrained. Like my brain is all over the place. So eh.
If you can collaborate with anyone, we're talking about musicians, we're talking about, artists. We'll even throw in film there. Who would you collaborate with? Are you working on any type of collaborations?
So we do a lot of collaboration work. Um, we've done a lot of collabs already. Like we did a song with TV from Blitzkid on our first record. Um, we did a song. Well, actually, Howie from Nim Vind played bass on our entire first record, and Tanner played rhythm guitar on that originally. And then we have a song with Brandel from Silent Horror. Um, who else have we done with? We have this song called Cirque du Freak that has Mr. Scaredenius on it. It has Andy Wiley from the Drowns on it. It has Joe Hell from the Zombie Suckers on it.
I have a question about that song.
Oh yeah,
Don't mind me like interrupting you quickly.
I'll go for it.
Is that about the book?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Is it
Yeah,
that, or is it just particularly about the first book? No, wait,
yeah. Specific. Well, I guess it would be
is it
like
the
a
second
little bit of the
book,
first and the. It's like in between the first and the second,
or is it
I would
about the whole
say.
series?
Probably just the beginning, because if you've read the book series, you know that like it actually like trails off, and at one point for a long time, it doesn't really have anything to do with the circus for a while, for like a few books, and they're just like not even near it. But I'm like really proud of that song. We sent it to Darren Chan, the author, and he freaking loved it, and he like shared it all over the place for us, and I still talk to him every now and then, and he like posted about it on his website, and that was really cool.
I was legitimately curious if you were going to talk about the film or the actual books.
The only thing good about that film was John C. Riley, but they absolutely just, I don't know what they were thinking. That was probably like the first movie I saw when I was a kid where I was like, oh man, this is must be what people are talking about when they say, like, oh man, that film's nothing like the books or whatever, because I was just so excited. And then I was like, what the fuck is going on? This is This is not what happens. This
How'd
is
you come
happening
across
way
that
too
book?
soon. What?
How'd you come across that book?
The library in elementary school. It was just on a shelf, and yeah, they only had books one, two, three, four, and I think six. So I didn't end up reading six because I didn't want to miss that book. But when I got older, because I moved around a lot growing up, but eventually I got to a town that had like the whole series in the school library, so I was able to read
Where,
it all there. What's that?
where are you originally from?
It's probably like, I mean, I was born in Aberdeen, Washington. That's probably like the best that I could say, but I don't feel confident saying I really grew up in any town in particular. But
I'm
I've lived like all over the coast of Washington, just all throughout my life. So,
well, go ahead, continue. I'm sorry. I just genuinely wanted to ask if it was about the books.
oh yeah, 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 it totally was. Yeah, like I'm trying to think of other features we've done. Um, oh, we did one with Jamie Rotten Corpse from Jamie Rotten Corpse and the Rising Dead. He did all the screaming on our song Zero Mortal Plan. God, we've done so many of them, so I got to keep thinking. Um, Fuck, I'm sorry if I'm leaving anything out, but we're sluts. We collab with everyone all the time. We love doing that shit. But
Perfectly fine. You don't got to apologize to me about
yeah,
forgetting
yeah, but
anyone.
like I know like Argyle Goolsby is like a big one. I've always wanted to collab with. I really want to do a song with him. Um, Trying to think, Bobby Calories would be cool. Um, I know that we are one with Nim Vind is gonna happen. We've already talked about it a bunch. It's just about like writing the right song to have him on and whatnot. And then yeah, Emilio from Dark Ride. I know we've talked about doing something in the future too. Um, the Crimson Ghosts. I would fucking love to do a track with them one day. That would be absolutely sick.
Have you met Jackal?
No, no, I've never met him. I've never been outside of the U.S. So yeah,
I
but
never,
I've been listening.
yeah,
Oh,
I've
sorry.
interviewed Jackal. No, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. No, I've
Oh,
interviewed.
you're fine.
Cool
Yeah,
dude.
I watched that. I watched that interview. He seems like a rad guy. Yeah,
Yeah, totally
yeah.
cool.
Sounds like he is not afraid to speak his mind at all. Yeah,
Go right ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah. Oh, yeah. But yeah. I love the Crimson Ghosts. I've been listening to them since I want to say I was in like sixth grade when I found Blood Red on YouTube, and I was like, "What is this? This is so cool." Yeah, their singer has like one of like the strongest voices in the genre. Like that guy's voice is insane. It's just his range is awesome and it's giant. He just has a giant voice.
You have a distinct voice. I mean, you have a good voice. I enjoy your voice. Uh,
Oh, thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
you do. Uh, now, did you have any type of influences in regards to your voice? Because I know a lot of people always talk about the damned, that at least that I've interviewed, that's more or less where they learned their vocal range and style. So where did you necessarily learn yours? Because from my understanding, you're not like you weren't a trained uh musician. It's just kind of like a natural occurrence for you. Like it's something that's natural to you.
Yeah, not one musical lesson of any sort for this guy has ever been done, which is probably bad. I should probably do that. I'd probably do a lot for my band if I did, but fuck, I just don't feel like it. And but I've made like a lot of growth over the years on my own. But as far as like vocally influences, yeah, I learned to find my voice singing like Blitz Kid and Misfit songs, and like no Misfit song in particular or like era. Like I consumed that shit like crack when I was a kid. So I loved the Danzig era and I loved the Graves era. I thought the like as I when I was younger, I favored the '90s era a lot more, but as I got older, I learned to like appreciate and adore the Danzig era a lot more. Yeah, trying to think of like other like and Matt Skiba. Matt Skiba is like a big influence on my voice too. Like a lot of the like more like monotone like talking voices I do. I like learned how to do more of that from learning how to play stuff off like From Here to Infirmary or Good Morning.
Now in this genre, everyone has what I like to consider like your war paint, like your makeup that you go on stage. I want to talk about like you have like two versions now. Like you had a previous version that I've seen you with when you had longer hair, and then of course you
Yeah,
have going on now. Um, Personally,
yeah,
not that it matters what my opinion is, but I like your current look now.
yeah. Me too. So I've been the old one was fun, but I just didn't really know what I wanted to do, and we felt like specifically me going so hard on the makeup like that was kind of making us less digestible, and so I just wanted to find something not so intense. And I have a friend who helped me kind of like figure out what to do for my new makeup, and she's like a really good like I don't know if she's like a cosmetologist or anything, but she's incredible at makeup, and so she gave me a bunch of lessons on how to do it, how I do it now, and yeah, I like it a lot more. Like this one, I think it's more less. I don't want to say like intimidating or yeah, I guess I would say it's like less intimidating, less like to put off people because like the old stuff, I like feel like it looks like I should be singing for some like satanic thrash band or black metal or something.
Hey, it's kind of like a doom metal type look
Yeah, yeah,
where it's
yeah, but I just didn't know what to do because I was just trying to do something that everyone else wasn't doing. And then I still kind of feel like I kind of like dropped the ball on that just because it's like I didn't want to do a skull. There's so many people that do that skull shit, and it's like it's cool, but like everyone does it. And then I was kind of hesitant to do how I do it now because that's more of the like traditional kind of like vampire-y face paint or whatever. Because like the character I'm trying to like create or like the more of like supernatural being I gravitate towards more are like ghosts rather than like vampires and werewolves or zombies and all of that. I think ghosts are a lot more interesting and a lot more like substance and depth or depth. They definitely got depth, but
So, David Phantom, how do you feel about ghosts? Do you believe in them? Do you think they're real?
oh
Have
man, so
proof? Do you have a
I
story?
have I have this weird theory on what I think they are, and I do have some of my own like I would say like supernatural experiences, but they probably could be just they could be disproven somehow or whatever. But I kind of like to keep those to myself. But because like I personally have like a weird view of the afterlife and whether or not it's around and like, but like my kind of like idea of what I think a ghost is like I think when someone dies with like a really strong emotional feeling of like just a lot of negative energy that kind of like leaves this imprint of them stuck on repeat behind. And like that's kind of what I believe like a ghost is like a person's negative energy just kind of left like their aura just kind of stained where they were the most, just kind of on repeat in cycles of just trying to figure out whatever issue they were going through.
So, how do you feel about ghost hunter shows?
Oh, I think they're fun, every time like because I watch like Nuke's Talk 5 like crazy. Like I digest the fuck of that out of that and then like me and my best friend Chris, we used to fucking absolutely just die. Like we would watch Taps or Ghost Hunters religiously back in the day, and we'd like oh my God, that shit's so fucking crazy. That's so real. And then we watch it now, we're like, dude, that's not real. That's fake. And then, their whole show got like busted or whatever, but it's fun. Yeah.
Sorry. Uh,
Uh,
Have you been to the Haunted Museum?
oh, the Zach Baggins one?
yeah.
No.
Oh, come on. You know you want to go. It looks all kinds of fun.
I'd go if like I didn't have like if I was there and they were like, "Hey, it's free today. You want to go check it out?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, all right." Yeah, but
Going back to Evelyns Casket.
yeah,
It's about everyone's about DIY, DIY approaches. I mean, that's pretty much what all of our community is. That's what my community is based about is DIY. I pretty much do everything myself. So how does or how do you I'm not sure exactly who handles Evelyn's caskets, like recording, merchandising. Uh
that's all me. I don't like we record ourselves and then we hire our friend Dane to mix everything. So he's mixed everything from Blacklight Waltz forward. So since October of 2020, he's mixed everything we've done. And then my friend Steven, his like social media platform for his artwork is Comic Rat. He does all of our artwork, and I just kind of give him like, this is the idea I have, and this is what I want it to be, and we just go all over it together. And he does that, and then yeah, I like manage all of our socials myself, and I do all of our like I designed our web store, our big cartel, and I ship everything myself, and it's part of why I don't like having like when we do have stuff on the online store. Most of the time, I'll be like, all right, you have like there is this amount that we have in the online store. It isn't everything we have, but this is all I'm willing to deal with shipping. So if you guys want it and you can't see us on the road this year or whatever, this is your chance. Because like when we did that vinyl, I was just like, this will be cool. And then I was like, oh my God, this is so much. Like I filled up the back of my car like two or three times running back and forth to the post office just because I don't have like a printer here to just do the labels myself. So I had to like wait in line with this just atrocious ginormous haul of vinyl records packed individually, and like it just took days of my time. And like I don't want to sound ungrateful or anything. It's just like I work because my day job I do construction, so it's like I work like 10 to 12 hour days most of the time, and it's just a lot with doing all the band stuff.
That's tough.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's like I appreciate everyone who grabs stuff off the online stores and all that, but I just get overwhelmed sometimes. I don't like upsetting our fans. And sometimes some of them, like, understandably, have been like, "Hey, man, where's my shit?" And it's like, I'm working on it. It's only been a couple days, but let me get to it. And then, it's like I have to like if because the post office fucks up all the time. I hate that. Like, it's a good like it's a good system. I like that. Like we have that ability to mail things and all that. That's like really useful, but they just lose shit all the time, and it's like I never know unless someone tells me. So it's like I'll like months will go by and I'll get some email like, "Hey, did this ever ship?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and I'll pull up the stuff for it, and it's like, "Yeah, it shipped." And then they'd be like, "Yeah, I just never got it," and I'm like, "Well, let me see what's going on," and I have to like go there in person most of the time to figure it out because their automated stuff on over the phone is just dog shit. And more than half the time they're like, "Oh, we didn't actually ship it. It's sitting back here still," or they'll just be like, "We just lost it. I don't know what to tell you," and then I have to just like get them a new one and send it to them.
It happens.
Yeah.
It's tough. No, I respect and I can understand the hustle.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, like it's it's a grind, and I appreciate it, but there's only so much like I can do, and like my biggest worry with it is always like one, it consumes a lot of time, but like I just do not like upsetting people. when I'm supposed to like ship them stuff. And a part of the big reason we don't really ship outside of the country is because it's just that much more paperwork. And then at the end of the day, they're always like really mad how much it costs to ship. And it's like I have no control over that. It's just like it's not my fault it's so much, but it's like shipping out of the country right now is just like costs are so fucking insane and almost nobody likes to see that number for like they'll buy like a shirt and a record and some stickers and a hat and shipping is more than all of that like than what that costs itself so
As far as, what are your expectations coming up as far as how do you want Evelyns Casket to be perceived? How do you want to be remembered? I know it's a generalized question, but feel free to answer it however you want to answer it.
I just it's one of those things where I just want to see how far I can take it and as far as perceived, like I would really like this to be my job one day at the very least. Like I would love it if like there could become a point where this thing gets far enough where I can like look at my bandmates and be like, you can quit your day job now. Like, maybe we're not living like kings, but like if this could like consistently pay my rent and we could justify being on tour for 4 or 5 months out of the year, that would just be amazing. Like I would love that. Like I really want to see the world, and like I feel like this band would just be like the best way to experience it if we can make that happen. And we don't want to like I don't give a shit about like playing a stadium or any of that. I don't give a fuck. Like I could play in front of like 200-300 people a night and like that just be like the best I get, you know, every night at best, and I would just be really content with that. Yeah, so yeah, I
Well,
don't know. I would love to like get a tour with bigger bands that like I grew up looking up to and heavily inspired by. That would be really cool too.
so
Yeah.
let's discuss your upcoming tour. I know you just did your recent loop in your area, but you have a
Oh
recent.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, we just did like a little run with the Miss Smiths, some good friends of ours, and it wasn't anything crazy. Like all the shows were in Washington, but we had a good time, and I don't think the drives weren't too intense. They were only like, well, the way back that was a long one, but it was like only like a couple like 2 to 4 hour drives after each show, so it wasn't anything crazy. But we had a blast, and the shows were awesome. Yeah.
So let's talk about your upcoming tour. You do have an upcoming tour with Nim Vind, who's I've interviewed before, I've talked to before. So, tell me about like how that came about and what
So,
you're forward
oh, sorry. Yeah.
to. No, go for it. I'm sorry. I know I took a long pause there, but go for
No, you're
it.
fine. You're fine. You're fine. So I've been me and the drummer for Evelyns Casket, Biff, have been playing bass and drums for Nim Vind for the US shows. And we've done 2 shows. We did Shocktoberfest in Everett, Washington last fall, and then we did Nosferatu Fest last month in Austin, Texas. And yeah, they're just really good experiences. And so before any of that, I gotta give like a huge shout out to Howie Wowie because he really like went out of his way to make sure I knew how to play like so so many of these songs the right way before we hit the road. So I give big props to him. But I just pretty much, just talking with Nim Vind, and we're just like, hey, we got this run coming up. I would really like it if you did it with us. And he was just like, yeah, let's go. Rock and roll, with a bunch of other, whimsical stuff. You've talked to him, you know him. He's like, the stars, and something terrestrial, yada yada.
Well, like that's one thing me and Chris have in common. Well, for those who don't know, Nim Vind's real name is Chris.
Yeah.
uh, uh, we both have like a love for space, so that's usually
Oh yeah.
that's why we usually discuss is you know aliens, UFOs.
I mean, I have had a ton of alien discussions with him. I'm a believer. I think aliens are totally real. I think that's to think there isn't other life out there in an endless void is just stone cold ignorant, but whatever. But yeah, he's real. Like that guy is like what you see is that's him. Like he is that guy. He's a strange cat, but he's got a lot of really good information to give, and he's done a lot of really cool things in his life, and I'm just really grateful to get to be a part of it for all of this, and yeah, it's rad. So
I prefer eccentric.
yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, so what do you look forward to the most? I know you're going to be heading to like different locations other than your usual stomping grounds.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we're cutting through the Midwest and heading up a little bit out in the Northeast. So I know like we have like it's not too many shows, and I know there's other stuff booked that we're going to be doing in the fall that hasn't been announced yet. So keep an eye out for more dates in the fall. They'll be showing up eventually. I don't know when, but I know they're coming. But we're starting in Minneapolis, and then we're going to oh God, I think it's Delaware next. Then we're going to New York, and then we're going to Denver and Salt Lake City. And there's a few more shows that we're kind of like still ironing out to get in between all of that. And but for the most part, those are like the main spots we're going to be hitting. And I'm excited because Evelyns Casket hasn't been back out east since like 2022. Our first tour was out there. We went with our buddies Darker Days, and we went all over out there. And we love the East Coast. We love East Coast people. We love the venues out there. We always get treated really nice, and we're really excited to make it back out there.
For any of you who want tickets to the shows or more or less know how to get there, price, affordability, go to deatharts13.com, click events. All those events are listed on our events tab. So when you click details, it's going to take you directly to a map of the location and if they do pre-sale tickets or they do actual ticket sales. I do know one of them, I want to say in Colorado is cash only, so you got to pay when you get there. So sorry about that.
A lot of them are cash only. A lot of the bookers, because it like Evelyns Casket is a DIY band. We're laid back, so we don't really do a whole lot of like contract stuff. But I know Chris likes to do it that way. So it's a whole new beast for us working with them. But I know they felt better doing door deals rather than pre-sales for the most part. So.
But yeah,
Or not door deals. Sorry, that's the wrong word.
it's okay. No, it's okay.
Pay at the door.
Pay at the
Pay
door.
at the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know for
Uh,
sure the one in Colorado, I think in Denver is pay at the door, I believe.
yeah.
But
That's at the Crypt. We're
at the
gonna be
Crypt,
playing with
thank
our
you. I couldn't remember the name
yeah.
of the venue.
Yeah,
But
we love that place. We went there on our last run and we played there with Witch Hands and America's Most Haunted, which America's Most Haunted will be playing with us again on this next one. And yeah, we love those guys. They always take care of us when we come out there.
yeah, everything's there. If you need a map, it's there. The times are there. Some of the times do need to be updated. I do know bar 13 or I'm just kidding. Bar
Yeah.
13. The show time on is going to be, I believe, 4. Doors open at 4,
Yeah.
early show.
So that show is gonna be sick because it's like the bands are a matinee, and then afterwards, I guess there's like this big wrestling event that's gonna be at the venue. So it's gonna be like us, and then like a bunch of wrestling, which is like that should be fun. That should be like an awesome time. So I'm excited for that.
So now that we've talked about what you've been up to recently, your upcoming tour, let's get into the generalized talks of just whatever. Don't worry, you don't need to be nervous. I've done this
Oh, I'm
before.
fine. Yeah.
It's not my first time. Uh, do you like video games? Do you like horror film? Well, obviously you like horror movies. Come on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I like video games and I like horror films. You know, I have this like rule for myself that I don't play video game or I won't play a video game unless I can pull it off while I'm on a treadmill. So if it requires like too much reflexes and all of that, like mentally, like I can't do it. Otherwise, I'll like fuck up and fall off my treadmill like an idiot.
You
But
are you a runner or are you a walker? Are you a speed walker?
when I'm doing video games, it's just speed walking.
Oh,
But
I'm talking about you on the treadmill, sir.
oh yeah, I do some running and all that. Like
What's
I
your
usually only
miles?
run. What's up?
What's your miles?
I don't know. I count. I try to get. I just pay attention to steps because I'm a calorie guy. I just pay attention to my calories in, calories out. So I try to get at a minimum 15K a day as far as steps go, and then as far as like all right, I'm satisfied. I could stop and be happy with that as a 20K.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head how many miles that is, but I do know that
A lot.
15K steps is like 500 to 700 calories burned. I know 20K is 700 to 1,000 based on your like body composition.
I was just asking because like one of my friends like is super into nutrition and
Oh yeah.
he like helped change like my nutrition plan. Well, he's a pro wrestler, but like he helped change like my nutrition. So I'm getting a little bit better. Not that my nutrition was bad necessarily, but I tend to go through like these slumps of uh if I'm really like I'm pretty open about generalized things that I've been through in life. So I tend to go through like slumps and as far as like depression or downtime. So I
Oh yeah.
kind so I kind of stopped doing stuff for like a month.
Oh yeah.
So uh more or less now I know I've been told at least that I look a little bit younger than what I am. So that's a good thing, but that has a lot to do with nutrition and the fact that I do exercise like twice a day now, at least minimum 4 times. So it helps me, but usually I can't do that many steps. I only do
Oh
about
yeah.
like 10,000.
Oh well, that's fine. I mean, like I know they say that like 6K is like really all you should try to get in a day if you're gonna like do anything. But 10,000 is solid. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just because if I don't do like if put it this way, if I don't do it in the morning, at least a good portion of them, I don't wake up throughout like the day. I feel so sluggish.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, like I know if I like wait till the afternoon to do them, it just like feels like torture. But if I just do it right when I wake up, like if I just wake up and get on my treadmill, it just freaking flies by. Because I swear, like when you first wake up, like time just flies by, like the first couple hours. So I'll like just hop on there, at least for me. And I'll just like put something on, and it's like I have like 6K before my days even started before I know it. And then
Yeah.
like I work construction too, so I get a shit ton of steps at work too. Like,
I was going to ask about that. As far as do you do any type of like strength training as well?
I used to be like really into all of that. It's like I only lift weights like maybe 3 times a week now. I just like got to a point where it's just like, I just try to like focus on like the aesthetic. I used to be like really into weightlifting as far as
I
like
won't
I was
judge
like
you.
yeah, I was like really into like the bodybuilding part for a hot minute when I was like in my late teens and early 20s, and then I spent a couple years focusing on like strength training and whatnot, and then I want to say like right around when like COVID happened, I just fucking stopped caring about being super strong or whatever. I just was just like, I am strong enough. I just don't,
It's okay.
because
It
it's
was
like,
a tough time.
oh yeah, it's just like, well, it's not even that. It's just like, it's like if I bench, let's say like I can't, but like let's say I could bench 400 pounds. It's like, when am I gonna use that? Like, what am I gonna do with that? When am I ever gonna like
Or
need?
reconstruction. I thought it would thought it would
Yeah,
help.
but it's like, but most of the time when you try to use your body like that to that extreme, like people are like, yo, dude, stop. Do not do that. They're like, that is not safe. Knock it off. It's like you will get hurt and then we will be without you for a few days or something like that. So it's like, because it like construction is hard labor, but
Hmm.
it's like there's all of these like safety things put in order, and it's like you get like, if you are not safe or you go over like what they want you to do, in most cases they grill you for it. Like you get in a lot of trouble.
Sorry, I know I took you on a little bit of a
Uh,
loop there, asking about your fitness and just routines. Just it just came up. So, anyways, what do you enjoy playing as far as going back to gaming or like films? Or what's your
oh,
favorite horror movie or just any film in general? Doesn't have to be horror.
okay, yeah. As far as like video games go, I like really like Bethesda games and like strategy games. Like I really like Age of Empire. Like that one's like really fun. I enjoy that. But I gotta like take a break from it every now and then because it starts to just feel like a repetitive cycle. Then I really enjoy Fallout. I think Fallout is like a really cool game and a really fun concept, as much as like it's not accurate because it's like, radiation doesn't work that way, but that's still pretty cool. And then I really like the Elder Scrolls games. I really enjoy those because I like to explore. I'm like one of those people, and that game gives you like so much freedom to just go look around and find things, and yeah, it's just fun. And then as far as like horror movies go, oh man, my favorite one. I don't know if I should like go in depth about it because it's like it just has a lot of like keywords in it, like
You can talk
where a
about it
few
as much
times.
as you want.
Well, I know, but it's like what happens is I'll talk about it and then the interviews will get taken down because of like the subjects of it, like
Let's
YouTube or
just say
Facebook.
the name of it. It's fine.
It's called Frankenstein's Army, and it's like it's a B movie, and
Who
it
made
just
it?
follows. God, I don't know. I'm terrible about that. I am like horrible with directors' names
No,
and like
I'm
actors.
just genuinely intrigued. We'll talk about it after we stop recording. I'm just genuinely intrigued
Uh,
by that.
I'll see if I can like talk about it a little bit without using the keywords real quick because it's a found footage style film, but
Gotcha.
it's like this platoon or a squad, not a platoon. It's like this squad of Soviet soldiers in World War II. Then they're like behind enemy lines in Germany, and they just stumble across this facility, and the bad guys in World War II. That's usually the thing that like when I start talking about that, that's
No,
what
I think I know
the
what you're
video
talking
takes up.
about. I've never seen it, but I think I know what you're talking about.
It's really cool. It's like really gory, and the plot is pretty interesting, but the ending, in my opinion, kind of sucks. But I just like love the practical effects because I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. And I'm like a curious person, so I'm just like, I don't know where this is going. So like it has my attention, but there's like some really cool concepts where they've like captured the grandson of Dr. Frankenstein, and they're like having him create these like corpse machine hybrid soldiers for them using like formulas that his grandfather used to create Frankenstein. And like there's like this one where it's like his face is like a drill, and like all of his limbs are on like these stilts, and he like crawls around like a spider, and the stilts are like these blades. and all that. And it's just like a really crazy concept. And then there's this one where it's like this big like hulking like brutish zombie, but its torso has been replaced with a plane engine, and they're like it's a very claustrophobic film because they're like in a lot of corridors the whole time throughout it, and they're like stuck in this tight corridor when this thing shows up, and it's just walking at them, and it's like it's a jet engine just walking to you, and you don't really like have anywhere to go. And I'm just like, man, that's freaking cool. I'm like I think like this. I want to say it was like that video game. I've never played it, but it's called something evil. But they have like a character in it where they like absolutely ripped that off because this film's from like the early 2000 teens.
Resident
So
Evil.
no, it's like something. I think it's like the Evil Within or
That was the
something like
next one I was
that.
going to go to. I was going to say the
Yeah,
then.
yeah. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but yeah, that. Yeah, and then but that's my favorite horror movie. And then like a runner up would be like I really like the first Insidious film. Um,
Very
like I
solid
just
film. It's an epic
yeah,
soundtrack.
yeah. It's really it's like a huge throwback to silent horror and all that, kind of like in the same vein as like the Babadook and whatnot, where they try to kind of just build off and modernize the vibe of that with how ghosts and demons work, or aesthetically at least.
Well, David, before I let you go, once again, thank you for coming on. Where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I made like a blue sky recently. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I don't use Twitter or X or whatever it's called. I just never have.
You don't want to be there,
And
trust me. You don't want.
yeah, I don't know. I just like I downloaded it a few years ago and I like tried it. I was like, I don't know how this works. I'm just whatever. I don't need this. And then you can find all of our music on Spotify, Bandcamp, and YouTube and all that. So, it's everywhere. I mean, just about anywhere.
All right. Thank you once again. And of course, the QR code is on the screen right here. So you can scan it and you can buy everything Evelyns Casket there. So thank you again, David, and have a good day, good night, wherever you are.
Yeah, thank you, Ash.